Hello, good afternoon. Welcome back. Welcome back to the Four Direction Show. I am Mary Apollo. I'm your host for today. In today's show, today topic we have how to become a social activist. This is going to be our topic for today. And send us your thoughts, send us your idea about how do you think you can become a social activist change maker. Who is a social activist? Is every person who have a passion for change, to organize communities, to mobilize, come up with solutions, and bring social change. Some advocates use the skills that they have, the creativity, the storytelling, the digital media, and lastly, the social platform that they have to work in the concerning issue that matter to them. Right now, with the global technology movement and the rise of youth change around the globe, to make the world a better place, there are more advocates who are coming worldwide to highlight some issues. And right now, with the pandemic and the COVID-19, there are some issues that they should be working in and mobilizing youth, mobilizing communities worldwide. So we will have this discussion today. I'm joined by Miss New York Airs, Skylee Lawton. Welcome.
Hi, thank you so much for having me, Mary.
Welcome. Thank you. Thank you for joining our program today. And
Of
my
course.
second guest is Olumide Idowu, a founder of ICCDI Africa. Welcome, Olumide. He's joining us live from
Thank,
Nigeria.
thank you very much. It's good to be
Thank
with you.
you. Thank you for coming today. And for the audience who are watching us, quick, send us your views. What do you think? Who is the social activist? And what the role that they should be playing in the community? Send us your views and please share the video with your friends. So welcome. First, let me start by you, Skylee. You grew up in a family that were working in the military,
hmm
and you have that kind of nice childhood experience. Tell me how that experience helped you to shape the personality who you are today.
My parents were amazing growing up. They really focused on education for my brother and they made sure that we were in a lot of different extracurricular activities. And one of the things that my parents really instilled in me was helping out our community. I remember our first charity project when I was little. It was right after Hurricane Katrina hit in Florida. And my mom and my dad got together and we collected toys, school supplies, shoes, medical supplies, and sent them all down to victims of the Hurricane Katrina in Florida. And I must have been 5 or 6 at the time, but I still remember receiving letters from all those kids, all the people that we helped, and pictures, and seeing how much just one family could
Mm,
help so many different kinds of people. And that from a young age
it's a good-
really instilled in me that love for charity work and knowing that one person can truly make a difference. And so I've really tried to live my life based on what they've taught me.
That's good. So Olumide, tell me the first experience that you had that make you start doing the social work that you are doing.
Okay, thank you very much. I think basically one of my passions started with an organization called ISEC. And ISEC is an international platform for young people to discover and develop their potentials.
Mhm.
And because of this platform, I was able to build my potential and build my skills to also see how I can make a change in my community. So that platform was very, very interesting for me.
Mhm.
And the platform is still helping other young people to grow
Our
and to
community.
change their
I remember
perspectives and to also make changes across the world. So ISEC is like a foundation for me and is a
Mhm.
platform that actually gave me the ability, the ideas, and the change I'm
Mhm.
making past couple of years. So, and for me, I personally pick environment aspect
Mhm.
of or as a project for me, because I see that everything we are doing, both health, education, anything we are doing related to the environment, and if the environment is not conducive, it's going to be a lot of problem for the community to actually enjoy what they will need to do. So,
and when
thank
did
you
you
very
do
much.
that program exactly?
ISEC is a youth organization all over the world, almost all of the countries, like close to 100 and something countries. And I was in ISEC in Nigeria, where I started ISEC from my university till I got to the national board as a vice president for communications. So it's a platform that actually can engage a lot of young people right from the university level. If you want to actually start your activism, I recommend ISEC because it's a platform that can develop your potential and can take you to many places across the world.
So Skylee, you have been through a lot of issues in your childhood, in anxiety, depression, and then you grow up that passion of doing mental health, and you did your first pageant. How did you turn that experience to a positive one and you become a change maker?
Well, I'll say my dance students, I was a dance teacher for a very long time, and it was my students who really inspired me to do a lot of the work that I'm doing now. Going through anxiety and depression last year, I had never been through something like that before. I've always been known as, the happy-go-lucky, energetic Skylee, but going through that very low in my life, it made me really recognize and appreciate all the positive moments that I had in my life. And a lot of those positive times were with my dance students. And with their own issues. They had self-confidence issues. They had their own anxiety issues. And I personally, any human, it's hard to see stuff like that, especially when, the kids are so close to me and they're my whole world. And I realized going through my own issues and then seeing my kids go through these issues that it's a lot more common than I previously thought it would. And I wanted to take that time and I learned as much as I could about anxiety, depression, even with veterans and civil society, and how you can educate people on that. And I recognize that there's not a lot of education on mental health. And that was something that really bothered me. And I realized there's so much change that I wanted to make in the world. So what can I do about it? And that's when I found pageantry. And I've always been used to being on stage. I was a dancer and a cheerleader growing up. So I was like, pageantry might be the place to go, because not only can I be comfortable on stage, but I can use my voice to speak up for those problems that I'm seeing in my community. And I can help other people who are dealing with those same problems. And yeah, that's my dance students really inspired me to do that.
How are you addressing these issues up on the stage, like in anxiety, depression? When you go to the stage, what kind of feelings do you take with, and how are you transferring it to a positive experience, especially for your students?
Right. So first of all, communication is a huge key. I let my kids know, I let my supporters, and on my social media, I let people know, like, this is not something that's unusual. A lot of people are dealing with problems like these, but there's something we can do about it, because you're not alone. And I think that's the most important thing that you can say to people who are going through something like this, is you are not alone, and that there is help out for you, even if you can't see it right away. So I'm using a lot of social media right now, and I think it's very, very important to have a strong support system. I am
and who is your strong support system?
That's my family, my mom, my grandma. I do have a therapist, and she is absolutely amazing. I think everyone should have a therapist. They're just so, you can talk to him or her and have no recourse or issues. They can help you think through things that you may be overthinking, which I tend to do. And I also, of course, have my pageant sisters. I go to them for literally everything. And having people on your side, letting you know that you are okay in moments when you don't feel like it, is so incredibly important. And I think that sense of community, especially for people who have anxiety and depression, is something that we need to build together.
Olumide, let me go back to you. Before you start doing the environmental activism, what memory in your childhood do you have that shape your personality you became today? Sorry. Singh, you are muted.
Yeah, thank you very much. So interesting to hear you. So basically for me, I don't really have much. My background was just, normal, living the normal life. And I remember very well that I follow my dad is into agriculture, and he works with the Ministry of Agriculture. So I had a lot of experience, a lot of conversation with him when it comes to climate smart agriculture, when you talk about sustainable agriculture. And I also remember that he always shares some books and readings with me when it comes to, there's no you want to talk about agriculture, we don't talk about the environment. So it's a little bit of conversation with my dad, and up to then I started having that zeal to see why the need for me to actually take a responsibility, and for me to also start driving conversation that can make people to listen, and can make also people to understand that there's opportunities in everything we lay our hands on. So my background is a little bit of just smooth, and I actually study statistics, so my background is different from what I'm actually doing. But it's about you knowing something about everything, just know something about it, and to be able to change the perspective and have more experience, and it can lead you to more things in life. So that's a little bit of my background. Thank you.
Skylee, the experience of Miss New York Airs, Miss Airs in general, what is wrong with the environment? What are some of the challenges that the environment is facing today?
I think the biggest problem that we are facing today is pollution, whether it's air or plastic. And that's something that I really want to help educate people on is our pollution issues through my program, #ThinkUp, Turn Trash to Treasure. What I'm trying to do with my program is teach young kids how they can live sustainably, make money off living sustainably, have social entrepreneurship, and to really instill in them discipline and a love for the environment that they can share with their children and have their planet be a lot healthier than it is today, because climate action is not something that's one country can solve. It is everyone's problem, and the youth of today is so important when it comes to solving these issues, especially when there's so many movements right now where kids are really facing their problems and facing the issues and saying we've had enough.
How are you addressing these issues on the ground with your campaign and the pageant?
Right now, unfortunately, all of my platform details are online. They are on social media. So I'm doing as much as I can educational wise to spread awareness, to teach as much as I can over social media, to reach as many people as I can. As soon as people are safe and we're healthy, I do want to go to schools, go to community centers where I can, and share this message that we need to really focus on our environment and focus on our daily habits that can help impact the environment on such a grand scale. And I'm so excited for all of it. And I want to really thank the Miss Earth organization for giving me this title and giving me this voice, for allowing me to go through their pageant and expand my platform this way.
So Olumide, the International Climate Change Development Initiative, you are the founder. You are still mute. The International Climate Change Development Initiative, and you are the founder. So
I'm the co-founder.
What kind of this? Talk to me about some of the challenges that the environmentally that the continent is facing, and how are you trying to grow up your initiative to reach the other countries in the continent?
Okay, so thank you very much. First and foremost, I'm a co-founder of the International Climate Change Development Initiative, and it started like a conversation online that we call Climate Wednesday, and is in partnership with a friend, a very good colleague from the United Nations. Now she worked with the UN, Esther Barakwe. What our idea was to create a conversation and to create a dialogue that can make young people to engage into something that they are interested in, and for them to also see how they can push sustainable change, not just anyhow change, but a change that can be sustainable and get them engaged more. And also for policy making, most policymakers to listen to young people and what they're actually doing. So our aim is very, very straightforward, because our impacts are just in line with a lot of actions that young people are actually taking presently, that climate change and disaster risk reduction. We're talking about the renewable energy. We talk about water, sanitation, and hygiene. We also look into sustainable agriculture and food security. And we also look into women, youth, and employment. And the last is biodiversity conservation. And if you look at all these things I've mentioned, and which is our impact area, these are the things that Africa as a continent is actually facing presently. And it's something that is very important that our leaders get to understand, that without them implementing a strategy, without them allowing we young people and other stakeholders to have their voice and contribute to this conversation, it's going to be very hard for us to actually see who is going to be part of this implementation and who is going to be solving this problem when they are done with their policies, when they are done with the strategy they want to use. So it is very, very important, because Africa is a great continent, and God blessed us with a lot of green lands, a lot of leaders that can actually make that changes. But the right time for us, and things that we need to be doing now, is for us to be on the same table at the right time, so that we can actually get the same conversation, we can actually get the same output, and we can actually get the same solution, so that everybody, the vulnerable people, the women, the girls, the children, can be able to understand that they are part of the solutions, and they can also be part of enjoying what Africa as an African need to see. So our aim is to build a climate smart generation across Africa, and to see how we can integrate what young people want to see as part of policies, as part of contributions to developing Africa. So ICCDI is a platform for everybody to have their voices and to have the conversation going on. If we watch our timeline every Wednesday, we have a conversation called Climate Wednesday, where we invite different young people across Africa, across the world, to actually share their words, share their experience, share their solutions to some questions or to some topics that is actually, need to drive change in Africa, and to see how we can put this policy or put this outcome in the front of our leaders, to see that young people in Africa are actually making move to support the agenda according to the Agenda 2063. Thank you very much.
So when you talk about Agenda 2030, how will you bring this contest to the international platform?
Okay, so Agenda 2030 is an agenda.
The issue that to address your challenges under the ground.
Okay, so for me, addressing the challenges on the ground and linking it to Agenda 2030 is just for the government to actually have that platform to listen to us. I can bet you and tell you that we have a lot of people. You don't need to go to school. I'm not saying it's not good to go to school, but for people that don't have the privilege to go to school, we have a lot of people that are having different vocational skills, and they are making more money without even having any education. But for us to make Agenda 2030 to work, there's need for us to drive a conversation using the 17 Sustainable Development Goals to actually orientate these local people and let them to drive change and drive actions. They'll be able to see that even though I don't go to school, I'll be able to understand the indicators on these SDGs and able to also see the solutions that they can provide. For example, what we do in my organization is that we help communities to identify their problem. And there's a tool that we use called Problem Tree. We do a lot of graphics work. We draw a lot of things for them to actually identify the root causes and identify the effects that is causing the root causes, and for them to also come up with their own solutions. So we don't put solutions into their mouth. They come up with their own local solutions. And this solution is what we help them to drive conversation around and let them to also see that they can also be a solution to their problem. Because if they continue to create problem for themselves, with what we are seeing in Africa or what we are seeing in different countries now, that some of our governments are not really having more interest in local communities, they'll be able to prefer solution to themselves and use their local resources that is available to them to also prefer solution for them. So Agenda 2030 is supposed to drive is supposed to eradicate poverty and to also to achieve sustainable development by 2030. Even it is not even only Africa, worldwide. And this is supposed to also ensure that we're not leaving anyone behind. And this one, leaving no one behind now drive conversation for local entity, most especially for our women and girls and children in the community, because they are one of the people that will actually be affected on the long run. Thank you very much.
Skylee, I saw some of the project that you have recently launched about young people for use to creativity to make some of the materials and the equipment out of what is available in the environment. How that can be able to address some of the challenges that we have.
Well, my program right now I'm working on is called Think Global, Act Local. It's a very popular hashtag, and all delegates of Miss Earth USA are encouraged to create a Think Global, Act Local event to get their community involved in whatever their program is, to get them involved in climate action. And my community and I this Sunday, we are designing an American flag out of upcycled bottle caps. And the goal is to show that we can be patriotic and we can be proud of where we come from, but we need to recognize that climate change and environmental issues, they are not just one country's problem, which is why I have collaborated with a bunch of different people from all over the globe now, including Dr. Daniel from Team 54 International. And we have so many people who are going to be creating their own flags out of upcycled materials. And I think not only is it a fun way to bring awareness to the fact that climate change is such a big problem, but it gets kids involved in a fun activity that they can understand a little bit better.
Olumide, is this kind of activities can be done in the continent with the limited resources that we have to make sure that we'll bring out those leaders who are creative in our society?
Yeah, it's very, very possible. The only thing I would say is that if we can look inward and try to see, like I mentioned the last time, that when you look inward, you look at the local resources that is available to you. We see a lot of young people working with different materials to form different stuffs. And these are the ideas that we grow and we build the great recovery that we are looking at. So we're also in this global pandemic. If you understand that a lot of young people are actually working on ideas that can give them more money in their pocket. They're working on a lot of ideas that can generate opportunities and job creations for them. And there's nothing that cannot be replicated in any entity. It's just for the entity to look inward and see the local resources they have. If the local resources they have can produce more and generate more income for them. So it's something that is evolving and continue to happen as times goes on. We need to understand that different continents with different ideas, with different approach, but we can be saying the same thing, but different languages. Thank you.
Okay, because I know also you are an entrepreneur and you work in the development marketing, just how youth can use this kind of opportunity, and currently with the pandemic and the lockdown, how they will be able to use their limited resources that they have and the access to internet so that they can generate more work and income in the continent.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think my part of life is I do a lot of digital marketing stuff, and I don't want to call myself a social media influencer now, but I would just call myself a change social influencer, because what I do basically is to share ideas on social media and share some critical conversations that can actually get people talk or people share, okay, this is what I think about this conversation. This is what I think. But when you are looking at the money-making part of it, definitely everybody needs to make money. We can't continue to be activists and be shouting, be talking without, getting an income. So the best part of it is because most of us that have been able to have the privilege to go to school, we also go back to look at, you know, what we study in the university and start looking for a way to generate income. So what I do basically is that I develop content for different companies that approach to develop content. And I also help some companies to also manage some different social media platforms. And but what this helps me to do is also help me to make some incomes, to have some incomes for me. I also serve on different committee that a lot of, let me say, income from those kind of committee as well. So my major income stream is basically using the social media to, you know, drive promo and some. I may not use my own social media platform, but I have a platform that I use to do all those kind of stuff. But when you look at the social aspect of my life, or looking at the social change aspect of my life, my conversation is basically on environmental issues. And those ones too are also bringing a lot of attentions, a lot of conversation and distribution to young people to also understand where you start from, where you are going to, and what you want to achieve.
Skylee, go back to your campaign, the Zero Plastic, globally. How it can help, can I say that, change the economic status for globally?
Well, ideally, what we want to do is get kids to see how easy upcycling can be, and then teach them how to expand that to be social entrepreneurs, to teach them how to make money, as he was saying, make money off of being sustainable and using the products that we have at home to fund your life, while also helping the planet, while also reducing the amount of production we have in factories nowadays, which is one of the biggest causes of pollution. And what we really want to do is bring that awareness to the kids, start them off with a fun project, say, hey, see, this is how easy it is. And then once they fall in love with it, be like, hey, you know, you can make money off this, right? You know, you can help change the world while making money. And I know that's something that a lot of kids are really interested in nowadays. So we are really excited about the expansion and the different projects that we're working on.
Go back to you also a volunteer with the UN, the Lucas project that you work in Tanzania, the station Tanzania. So what was your passion that took you there to work in the continent? And
that was something that kind of came about. I knew I always wanted to be a UN volunteer. That was really, really important to me, especially during COVID. Unfortunately, I did lose my day-to-day job and I was sent home from college because we shut down. So I really wanted to spend my time utilizing the skills that I had from school and from my pageant work to bring awareness to different kinds of campaigns. And I happened to find a job application as a volunteer for La Scada out of Tanzania, working to bring about awareness and to fundraise for different water fountains and hand washing stations in Tanzania that could help with COVID-19 relief. And that was something that it was a pleasure to be on the team.
Olumide, what kind of initiatives or that can be done soon during the COVID? When we talk about the climate, like environmental initiative that can be done currently to rescue the situation.
Yeah, thank you very, very much. And let me quickly say that a lot of activities have been going on. Young people have been making contributions across the world, and most especially, if you look at the WHO guidelines and rules concerning the COVID-19 pandemic issue, lots of people have been working. Like, we have a lot of Nigerians, young Nigerians that are, you know, doing a lot of things from recycling, making hand washing. Most especially, lots of people are engaging communities in sensitizing, building awareness for them to understand that hand washing is very, very important. And that's one of the great things that has been happening in different communities where people are talking about hygiene issue, water sanitation and hygiene, how they need to take care of themselves. And lots of young people also developing an hand washing basin that can, you know, anytime you want to enter any place, before you get inside, you need to wash your hands. You need to, you know, make sure that you are clean, you don't touch things anyhow. And you can see a lot of young people in Nigeria as well, also working around renewable energy, providing solar for different communities in Nigeria. because as the time is getting harder, a lot of people need to sustain themselves. So a couple of people cannot even afford to pay electricity bill again. So introducing solar panel to the community is another thing that is growing very fast. And I think that's another way for us to see that the global pandemic is bringing us to see a lot of issues that we need to solve as a leader, as young people, everywhere around the world. So a lot of people just need to start looking at that idea, that way whereby you can create something out of anything. Because this is the right time for us to think out of the box to make sure that our change is now sustainable, so that we can see the change. And most importantly, we should follow the rules and the guidelines of the World Health Organization, because this is also helping a lot of people to understand that this COVID-19 is not the death sentence. Rather, we just need to heed to the advice and to start creating ideas, start creating solutions that can make people to understand that we can still live, we can still enjoy the normal life we have, but things may not be the way it is before, but you can see that we can still continue to live. And a lot of countries have started opening up to see how they can continue their economy, how they can open up the economy. And I hope that all of us, we know, we've understood about the great recovery that a lot of countries are coming up about to make sure that the economy go back. So young people as a whole are actually making impacts, doing wonderful and fantastic stuff in their community, and they are creating more awareness for people to listen and people to engage more. Thank you.
Talking about that, is Skylee, the organization have different ambassadors in different countries. How were you able to communicate with those the other queens who are in different countries to find out the challenges that they have underground there and come up with solutions?
We have been using a lot of social media lately. That has been our number one communication efforts. And honestly, I'm so thankful we do have social media and the technology that we do have today, especially during this pandemic, to still communicate with each other, because it'd be definitely a lot harder to not. But it does, I will say, the amount of effort that all of the queens in the Miss Earth pageant system are still doing, even with COVID, how they are getting their communities involved, how we are educating the youth and educating people all over our country and all over the world on different kinds of climate change problems. I think it shows a strength that us as pageant queens have, that we have this problem. We have to face this dilemma just like everyone else does, but we still have to do our job. We still have a responsibility to bring about this awareness and to get people involved and to get people educated.
So Olumide, let me go back to you. The storytelling skills and with the social media, how can some of those environmental activists or activists in general bring these stories to the public?
Okay, thank you very much. I think one of the why I developed this experience was just for me, because if you're in such space, you have to know how to compose, how to create that atmosphere for people to listen to you. So, and you have to know how to construct and build a very good sentence that we help people to actually want to share, or actually want to reply to that your tweet, or comment on your Facebook. So social storytelling is a tool that can actually take you to any level in life, that can actually help you to tell a story that people will actually want to read. And when you are reading a story and you started feeling so passionate about it, you will see that something in you will continue to bring out that spirit to do something. So when you tell a story, for example, let me use a sexual issue as a story. When you are telling a sexual story, maybe sexuality stuff, when you're telling those stories, you need to be very careful in the way you use the language and the way you compose your language, because a lot of people are watching, and we have different genders, like I said, different gender that are also listening to what you're talking about. So when you're telling a story like that, you need to be very, very, constructive. You need to make sure that you have your facts. You need to, private, you need to be very observant in your composition, in the way you tell the story. And, your story can be a surprise as well to people, for people to actually want to read. So it is a call to action for us as young people to also look at a way we can use storytelling to call people to action, to call people to actually want to listen. Like for my friend Skylee, doing something around in our country, on the climate. And a climate action program is something that you need a fact. You can't quote something wrong, because people want to attack, or people want to tell you to shut up. But if you want to get people's consent in storytelling, in storytelling, you need to actually construct, get your data fact right, pull a lot of statistics out, use a lot of infographics to tell the story, because people will love to see those things in number and love to also see example. And this one leads me to talk about your identity. Your identity also relates to your storytelling, because if your identity is not something to reckon with, people will not listen to you. Because when you see somebody that have 500 retweets within 30 minutes, you need to know that is either the person have been pushing out conversation that people want to listen to, or the person is actually making sense. So that means that person's story is connecting and is driving conversation. So I'm not talking of you putting out something that is illegal, but something that is legal and people want to listen to, and people want to connect and have a conversation. So storytelling, you need.
What is the next step? How can the storytelling bring a change?
Okay, so bringing a change in the sense that, let me link it to a social activist. So if you pick an issue like a climate action, for instance, and where your climate action is to drive climate financing, so you need to start looking at who are the people financing this activity. Let me use our NDC. If you know NDC, National Determined Contribution, we are talking about who's going to finance this kind of projects. We're talking about different sectors under this project. So definitely you need to understand those sectors. Why you are making arguments, you need to understand why those sectors are not working, and why, and the things that we need to do, so that the implementation strategy for those each sectors can involve every stakeholders. So your story will follow, and people will be able to listen to the problem, and people will be able to understand that what actually causes this problem, and be able to give you a solutions or ideas on how to solve it. So climate financing is a very big topic, because everybody is looking for a way to solve a problem, and everybody is looking for money to implement a program. So if you don't have the funding, if you don't have the finances, how do you want to implement your strategy, your NDC in your country? So storytelling in that line is, you need to understand the problem, you need to understand where the problem is actually coming from, and who are the actors in this problem. And another thing, when we talk about problems, keep ranting about problems in your storytelling, you need to start giving your own solution, your own contributions, which is more very important, because when you keep arguing, when you keep pushing out problems, remember that people are waiting to listen to what is your own solution. What do you think government, what do you need stakeholders to do? Who are the stakeholders that need to come on to make these changes? So for you to be a good social agent or climate activist, you need to start to understand that any problem you push out, you need to provide solutions to those problems.
And how can the government implement that solution you came up with?
Okay, so it's very, very simple. When you come up with a solution, and your solution is locally driven, any solution that is solving a community problem, I don't know for other countries, I think every country needs to understand that if a solution has been working for a local community, for you to push the government to make that change is going to be very easy for you, because you need to have what we call success stories to show the government, to experiment with the government that I've been able to do this for a couple of years, and these are the stories, these are the solutions, these are the people that have been impacted, that have seen the solutions as an opportunity for them to continue to do what they are doing. So definitely, governments, I'm saying for myself and my country, definitely government will be able to connect and to see the local comment. Like for instance, let me give a very good example. A colleague, a friend online today, just she won an award from the government on the SME. If she has not been doing that for a couple of days, couple of weeks, couple of months, couple of years, how will the government recognize her? The government will not recognize her because she's not saying anything. But today, because of our commitment, because of our drive, of our solution to problems, government were able to identify and start providing solutions to her. So it is very, very understandable that when the government see a solution that is driving local actions, there's no how that such government will not come to the aid and support that kind of initiative. And if you remember very, very well, we also have international organizations instituted in different countries that you can also drive your connection, drive your conversation, or your initiatives with them to see the need for them to change and to collaborate with you.
Skylee, international organization, like for example, for Miss Earth, when they are dealing with these global issues and global challenges that are taking place, how the organization will be able to address these issues in an international platform?
Well, the Miss Earth organization does it in general. The Miss Earth organization is an international pageant. It's the third largest one that works specifically on climate change and the environment. And we are the only pageant to do something like this. And we connect with countries all over the world to bring this awareness, and not just with those countries, but then within those states and within those communities as well. So they've been doing this for a very long time now.
So, okay, so currently, I can go back again to the point of storytelling, Skylee, with the issue of some of duties on doing a pageant or a pageant in general, because people have a lot of misconception about the pageant in general.
Yes.
So how can the pageant show this kind of skills that the person have?
That is really up to the queens themselves. It's our responsibility as chosen delegates to show our empathy, to show our stories, and to say that here's the problems, but this is the solutions that I have. Not every queen is the same, but a good queen is one who will appreciate the title and appreciate the media and the respect that they get and use that to do change. And it's the organization Miss Earth and the judges and the delegates and the directors who choose who is queen. It's up to them to realize and recognize who they want to be the face, to be the brand, to represent certain states or represent certain countries. It's up to them to see the genuineness of some queens and the work that we put in and the effort that we put into our programs and our platforms. And I think so far.
Talk to me about some of the roles that you are doing currently.
Well, right now, I am currently running full-time with my Miss Earth duties. Unfortunately, we've had a few setbacks recently, but the outcomes are only as amazing as the challenges are difficult. And I've been working a lot specifically on my Think Global Act Local event this coming weekend, which has been my main focus. After that, I'm just using a lot of my social media and really prepping for my Miss Earth USA stage time.
Olumide, I can go back again to the point of what should be done next in terms of the initiative that we should be driving in the environment issues.
Okay. So I think one of the things that we need to start doing as young people, and for us to drive a sustainable change, one, we should start to, as young people, we should know our power, the kind of power we have as young people, our voice, because our voice is really valuable and it's influential. So, and as young people, we are a key position to reach everywhere we want to reach to, because for those that have access to this to internet, it's important for us to start communicating that change that we want to see in every community. Secondly, we need to engage our peers and build a network of change agents, because social change takes time and it takes work to actually drive that change, and that which is very, very important for us. Then also, as young people, to drive social change and to be a social activist, we need to start to look at partnership. We need to partner with some developing programs, some organizations, some different stakeholders, so that they can help us to drive our communications, that can help us to drive our ideas everywhere. Then next thing we need to do, we need to also look at how we can connect with the local communities, because they're the one that actually need the change we want to make. Connect with local communities is very, very important. Then after that, we need to start also looking at how we can seek out for resources. Seeking out for resources in the sense that what are resources that we need to drive the change? What are resources that we need to make that change in the community we want to do, or that voice we want to send to the government to happen? Because it is high time for, because there are tools that can be helpful to us, both online, on ground, and everywhere we go to. And to round it up, I think one of the things that we need again is to see how we can take our stand against anybody that we say we can drive the change. I'm not saying for us to fight or to attack, but we need to take a stand as young people, as a different kind of set of gender we are, to take a stand to see that we can do this. Give us a platform. Let us be part of the table, so that we can be part of the solution and we can be part of the implementation strategy. So these are the things that we need to take. We need to do. We are driving change in our communities, in everywhere all over the world we are. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Skylee, go back to your hashtag, the program of Think Up program. How do you address the issue of education at international level?
That is completely with communication and collaboration. I may be just one person, but you know, climate change is something that affects all of us. And I am really collaborating a lot with different organizations such as Team 54 International, who have been absolutely amazing in their support of me and my projects. And it's really about finding those people who care and who have that awareness and who have that education, and not only learning from them or teaching them, but then sharing that knowledge with everyone else who may not have that knowledge. And collaboration and communication are the absolute biggest keys when it comes to that.
How do you envision the outcome of this project?
The absolute biggest outcome that I could hope for with my program #ThinkUp is to, you know, make sure that government is aware. We don't have any classes in our public schools about climate change and climate action or sustainability or the environment. We don't have things like that. I didn't learn about that until I was in college. I was actually just having a conversation with my sister queens about that the other day. And ideally, what we would like to see is our governments putting in those classes into our public education system so that kids can learn those from an early age and recognize the kind of lifestyle that their choices are, recognize that their lifestyles, you know, they have an impact on the environment, and their choice can impact the entire globe.
Olumide, how do you envision the curriculum should be addressing the environment issue?
Okay, so my organization have a project called Teach Recycling Early, which we started a couple of, maybe I think 2017. And let me tell you, one of the things that Skylee said, you know, different country, different idea, different education system. For us in Nigeria, you have to go through a lot of process before you can, you know, add anything. You can even develop a curriculum is something that is going to take time and stuff like that. So what we decided to do is to come up with a manual that we can use to engage children, young people in primary and secondary schools, for them to understand that recycling is a very big deal for us. And a lot of people are making money from waste management now. And so for us, our curriculum is a big deal for us, though you have to just pass through the process, and to make sure that when you want to add to the curriculum, you need to get ready to, to do a lot of paperwork, a lot of legwork, a lot of conversation with the government and with the Ministry of Education. And then most especially the area you're looking at, which is environment, we need to also bring different parastatal, different ministries to also be part of your output and what you want to achieve. But for us to get the conversation, the story on ground, we did not come up with manual, and we still continue with what we are doing. But because of the global pandemic, we actually have a little bit of step down on it because of the social distancing, not touching, not doing this physical distance that is going on. So it's something, curriculum is something that every country needs to look into when it comes to environmental issues, because it's very, very bad. Remember then when we were in school, we do what we call social studies, and it's not a part of it, but it's something that we need to now start looking at. How can we develop or improve our environmental education in our secondary, primary, and university system to make sure that when people get out from the education system a little bit, they're able to understand that I can also make changes in my line or because every career leads to environmental issues. No matter what they are doing, we have environmental law. People that are doing theaters, they are using theater to promote environment issues. Skylee, as a beauty pageant, is using a talent to actually create conversation. Footballers are also an ambassador to different programs. So a lot of people are doing things to make sure that they don't wait for the curriculum to delay their conversation. They are using what they have, their talent, to drive conversation that can create change in every community they are. Thank you.
Olumide, where do you find all this energy?
Oh, I think the energy comes from passion and reading, studying, listening to people that actually are ahead of me. And I also think that if we continue to do that, you'll be able to see that you will be able to perform more solutions. You'll be able to think, because when you have conversation with people that are ahead of you, and you have conversation with a lot of people that are into different areas of issues that are working on, you'll be able to learn on how to drive solutions. But the zeal and the passion is let me say, is because this is what I see myself doing, and I start building on it, having more conversation. Not to forget that you actually need a mentor to grow in this life. Thank you.
Skylee, what message do you send to the people out there? How are you encouraging young girls, especially?
Especially young girls. Oh my goodness. I think the biggest message that I could try and send is that every little thing helps. You don't have to create a big event. You don't have to create a foundation. All you have to do is think about what you do every single day and think about the impact that certain decisions in your life can make, whether it's buying plastic bottles or reusable bottle, driving to work or taking a train. It's all those little things in civil society, because we don't have to be perfect. We don't have to completely and totally live off the grid with no energy and live off fossil fuels. We don't have to do that, but little things matter and little things count, especially in the times that we are living in. And as long as people are more aware of what they're doing in their lives and who they're connecting with and how they're connecting with them, I think that's so important, and recognizing how important that our planet is. And I think one of my favorite things that I say is, this is our planet. We don't have a planet B. We don't have another option. This is it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for both of you. We are joined by Skylee, Lawton, Olumide, Idowu from Nigeria. Thank you for watching our show today on how to become a social activist. I was joined by Skylee, Lawton, Olumide, Idowu from Nigeria. Okay, and thank you for all the viewers who watch us today live. I'm your host, Mary Apollo. We'll meet next week in more discussions, more topic to talk about. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.